Hi guys, this is O-Level Chemistry, paper 12, June 2022, question 1. A student investigates the rate of reaction between calcium carbonate and hydrochloric acid. The volume of gas in the syringe is recorded after 1 minute. The experiment is repeated using different concentrations of hydrochloric acid. Which additional piece of apparatus are essential for the investigation? Okay, now the reaction is between calcium carbonate and hydrochloric acid, and the collection is that of the carbon dioxide gas here. And we need to find out what is required for this experiment. So obviously, we would need a balance to weigh the mass of calcium carbonate that we are going to use during this experiment. We will need a measuring cylinder to add the acid, and we would need a stop clock or a stopwatch to note the time taken to collect a certain volume of gas. So all three pieces of apparatus are essential for this investigation. So this makes option D the correct option for this question. Question 2. Which statement is correct? A mixture of liquids with boiling points which differ by 35 degrees Celsius can be separated by distillation. Yes, the difference in temperature is huge. Locating agents are needed to identify the colors present in ink. No. If colors are present in ink, then you don't need a locating agent. Locating agent are needed to locate the positions of colorless substances that are separated in chromatography. The desalination of seawater to produce pure water is achieved by fractional distillation. No, this is achieved by reverse osmosis. D, the RF value of a dye in a chromatogram can be calculated using the formula RF equals distance moved by the solvent upon distance moved by the spot. No, this is written in reverse. The correct RF value calculation would be distance moved by the spot divided by distance moved by the solvent. So B, C, and D are incorrect, which makes option A the correct option for this question. Question 3. Some reactions of an aqueous solution of compound X are given. When a few drops of aqueous sodium hydroxide are added, a white precipitate is formed. Okay, so the ions that form a white precipitate on addition of sodium hydroxide are aluminum, we have zinc, we have calcium, and we have magnesium. All of these will form a white precipitate on addition of NaOH. Okay, when dilute nitric acid is added and the mixture is warmed, a gas is formed. The gas decolorizes acidified potassium manganate. Okay, on addition of nitric acid, a gas is formed and that gas decolorizes potassium manganate 7. The only gas known to decolorize potassium manganate 7, that means it turns from purple to colorless, is sulfur dioxide gas. Next, when dilute nitric acid and barium nitrate are added, no visible reaction occurs. So, production of SO2 is there. That means we have a sulfur containing ion present. But on addition of dilute nitric acid and aqueous barium nitrate, no visible reaction occurs. So, the ion that we have is sulfide. Reason being, sulfides, when they are present in our solution, they form a white precipitate with barium nitrate only when you don't add additional nitric acid. If you add an acid, the precipitate dissolves. So we started off this experiment by using dilute nitric acid and then adding barium nitrate. So the precipitate did not form. So this actually confirms the presence of sulfide ions. Okay. What can we deduce about the identity of X? X contains only aluminum sulfate. We cannot be sure. Sulfate is not there, first of all. X contains only calcium sulfide. Again, we cannot be sure. Sulfide is there, but is it calcium? That has not been confirmed. X must contain aluminum sulfide or zinc sulfide. Again, these are not the only possible options. X must contain aluminum sulfide, calcium sulfide, or zinc sulfide. Yes, these are all the options out of the four available. With this is the only option with the maximum number of optional salts available. So For this question, option D is the correct option. Question 4. Which set of changes to the conditions increases the volume of a gas? Okay. So we have pressure and temperature written in the column. So first of all, what is the relationship between pressure and volume? Pressure is inversely proportional to volume. And what is the relationship between temperature and pressure? Temperature is directly proportional to pressure. So if the volume is increased, the pressure would decrease, and if the temperature is increased, oh, temperature and volume. Temperature and volume are also directly proportional. So if the temperature is increased, the volume is also increased here. So, well, the relationship between temperature and pressure written is also correct. Okay, so now we consider this and this. So pressure has to decrease and temperature has to increase because the volume is increasing. So directly option A becomes the correct option for this question. Question 5. Ethylamine gas and hydrogen chloride gas react together to form a white solid, ethylamine hydrochloride. At which position in the tube would a ring of solid white ethylamine hydrochloride form? Okay, so we have a cotton wool soaked in ethylamine on the left. We have a cotton wool soaked in hydrochloric acid on the right. So now we have them moving towards each other, the gases. So if the gases are moving, then we need to consider their MR. So if we calculate the MR of C2H5 NH2, it turns out to be 45. And if we calculate the MR of HCl, it turns out to be 36.5. So the MR of ethylamine is higher than that of HCl. That means HCl would diffuse greater than the diffusion of ethylamine. So this should be A. The white ring formed when these two react together would be position A. So option A becomes the correct option for this question. Question 6. Element X can be represented by the symbol X, proton number 6, neutron number 14. Which statement about an atom of element X are correct? It has 6 electrons. Yes, the number of protons is equal to number of electrons. This is correct. It has 8 protons. No, it has 6 protons because the proton number is 6. It is an isotope of carbon. So for that, we should look at carbon. Carbon has a proton number of 6 and a nucleon number of 12. So carbon has 6 electrons. It has 6 protons and it has 12 minus 6, which is equal to 6 neutrons. So this element has 6 electrons. X has 6 electrons. It has 6 protons and it has 14 minus 6, which is equal to 8 neutrons. So only the number of neutrons is different. So an isotope is an atom of the same element having the same number of electrons and protons, which is 6 in this case, but a different number of neutrons. Carbon has 6 neutrons, X has 8 neutrons, making this an isotope of carbon. Next, it is an isotope of nitrogen. So we'll do the same calculation. Nitrogen has 7 as the proton number and 14 as its nucleon number. So it will have 7 electrons, it will have 7 protons, and it will have 14 minus 7, which gives us 7 neutrons. So the number of electrons and protons are also different, making this not an isotope of nitrogen. So options 1 and 3 are correct, options 2 and 4 are wrong. So out of the given options A, B, C, D, option C is the correct option for this question. Question 7. Two isotopes of chlorine are Cl35 and Cl37. Using these isotopes and carbon 12 and hydrogen 1, how many different relative molecular masses are possible for the compound with the molecular formula C2H3Cl3. Okay, so carbon and hydrogen have a single isotope present. So they will be common for all of our molecules. But we have three different fluorines. So there are four possibilities with three different fluorine. Let's just see. We have here four different possibilities having three chlorine atoms. How? In the first case, we will have all three chlorine atoms having the Cl35 isotope present in them. In another possibility, we will have two chlorine atoms having Cl35. In another possibility, we will have only one chlorine atom having Cl35. In a fourth possibility, no chlorine atoms will have Cl35. And now let's consider Cl37. In the first possibility, we have three chlorine atoms being the Cl37 isotope. In the second possibility, we have two Cl13 isotopes present in the molecule. And in the third possibility, we have only one Cl37 in the molecule, isotope in the molecule. So altogether, as we can see, we have four possible molecules. So this makes option C the correct option for this question. Question 8. Which row is correct? Okay, graphite. Graphite is an element, it is carbon. Iron is an element, it is carbon. Next, graphite and iron again. Iron and water. Iron is an element, water is not an element. Water and methane. Water is a molecule, methane is a molecule or other compound. So now let's look at compounds. Methane is a molecule or compound, water is a molecular compound. Sand is a compound, SiO2. Water is a compound. Methane, yes, graphite is an element, carbon. Air is neither an element nor a compound. It is a mixture of different gases. Graphite is an element. So, next, mixtures. Air is a mixture, yes, copper is an element. Air is a mixture, brass is a mixture of copper and zinc. Air and brass again. Iron is not a mixture, brass is a mixture. So the only option here in which all given substances are in their correct boxes is option B. Question 9. Which statement about ionic compounds is correct? They are all solids at room temperature. Yes, ionic compounds are solids at room temperature. They all conduct electricity at room temperature. No, none of them do. They are all soluble in water. No, some are soluble, some are insoluble. They all have strong intermolecular forces. No, they don't have strong intermolecular forces. Intermolecular forces are present in covalent compound. They have strong electrostatic forces of attraction. So, for this question, option A is the correct option. Question 10. A molecule of tetrafluorosilane, SiF4, is shown in the dot and cross diagram. Only the outer shell electrons are shown. Which statement is correct? Each molecule of SiF4 has exactly 16 pairs of electrons. Each molecule has 16 pairs. So if we count the structure given, there are 4 pairs here, 4 pairs here, 4 pairs here, and 4 pairs here. So these are 16 pairs of electrons. Yes, but these are only the outer shell. The inner shell will also contain pairs of electrons. So the number of pairs of electrons in the entire molecule are greater than 16. So this option is wrong. Next, in SiF4, both the silicon and fluorine have the same electronic configuration as neon. Okay, the electronic configuration of neon is obviously that of a noble gas, right? So fluorine is in period 2. The element next to fluorine is neon, but silicon is not in period 2. It is in period 3. And the element next to silicon is chlorine, and the noble gas that comes after chlorine is argon. So when SiF4 forms, fluorine will have an electronic configuration similar to neon, but silicon will have an electronic configuration similar to argon. So this statement is also wrong. Molten SiF4 will conduct electricity. This is a covalent compound. It is not ionic. It will not conduct electricity. SiF4 has a low melting point. It is a simple molecular solid. So it will have a low melting point. Yes. So for this question, option D is the correct option.